You're unmuted.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to workshop meeting, Monday, November 4th, starting at 6:58.
Nine.
I have 7
o'clock.
o'clock,
Now 7. Yeah.
7 o'clock. And call to order and roll call.
President Valerie Reinfeller,
Here,
Vice President Andrea Dattilo,
Here.
Councilmember Matt Castiglia is absent. Councilmember Shirley Blair Fuller,
Uh-oh.
she was here.
She was. She jumped off.
Councilmember Deb Cassini Klein,
Here.
Councilmember Greg Furdanovich,
Here.
Councilmember Brooke Burchett Williams,
Here.
and Mayor Paul Gambat.
Here.
Great. And we will start with public comment. There's nobody in the room, so we'll start online. If you wish to do a comment, please raise your virtual hand. We will promote you to panelist. And you have 3 minutes for a comment, and please state your name and address. And we have 3 people online right now.
That's like a G.
Neil G.
Oh, yeah, that is- oh, G.
Give another minute. All right, now we'll close public comment. And we'll move on to our discussion items for the evening. Did everybody take a look at the draft meeting minutes from Monday, October 7th?
Yes.
And Tuesday, October 15th? For any questions or comments?
Nope.
All right. Any questions or comments about the reports that were submitted by the staff?
Thank you, Steph. Yes.
I
thank
do
you.
have a question about the right to know requests. If we can get some clarification on what those right to know requests were.
Yes, one was for tax collection. And there was one, I believe, property address. And that might be another one that's slipping my mind right now.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just received another one for building permits.
Okay.
All right. Move on to Management and Government Committee, and talk about the board and commission appointments.
Okay, so there are several expiring terms for individuals on various boards and commissions. For the zoning hearing board, there's one term that is expiring at the end of the year, and that is Tim Finnerty's. For the Civil Service Commission, there is currently one expiring, and that is Joyce Welch. On the rec board, there are 3 expiring at the end of the year. Marty Barron, Michael O'Brien, and Sharon Pedrati. The tree committee, there are 2 expiring. Ken Balky and Natalie Boydston. And then there are 2 expiring on the Human Relations Commission. Nancy Fair and Cheryl McAfee. I have reached out to all of those individuals to see if they would be looking to seek reappointment. However, I made note that council does make the final decision, so. I heard back from Mr. O'Brien, or I didn't hear back from Mr. Finley yet. I heard back from only Michael O'Brien and Sharon Pedrati would be willing to serve again.
Good.
Ken Velke would be willing to serve again. And Cheryl McAfee would be willing to serve.
Great.
Again. I will continue to reach out and see if the others are.
Great. Thank you.
Marty Barron doesn't have a computer. I don't know if you know that.
Okay.
So the only way to reach her is by phone. I don't know if you had her phone, if you were able to get her.
I did ask, Michael a good number to call.
Oh, okay.
Great, thank you. And these are all expiring at the end of the year.
Correct,
Mhm.
yes. So these were unexpected.
So we would have to make reappointments. If people are interested in reappointments and decide in our December meeting.
Chiefs, yeah. I think he has a few.
Yep, you broke it. You broke it.
Yeah.
Did you?
Ideally, it would be nice to have this, I mean, we discussed it now, we could pass everything, or approve everything at the last December meeting. But that's gonna be a packed agenda, but I feel like I might not hear back.
Yeah. Let's discuss this a little bit more in committee if we need to do outreach.
Right,
For folks in.
okay.
All right, and we'll move on to finance committee.
Yes, so I don't know if you've had a chance to look in front of you, the different options. I mean, I will give the staff so much incredible praise and talent and thank yous for everything. This has been, I can't tell you how many spreadsheets we've looked over, and sorry, Ken, we might have killed a couple trees. But it's been a process, and truly, and thank you, Brooke, and thank you, everybody, but it's, as you know, we were trying to go line by line, doing everything we possibly can to make the budget make sense. So in front of you, there are multiple options, so it's no tax, 1.5 mil increase. And then on the other side, it will be the sewage fund, which is unfortunately very underfunded. So if you look at the numbers, you can easily see what the difference will be. And as we look forward, as we go forward, we have more capital projects that are going to need to be done. We know that as we experienced this year, crumbling infrastructure that we're trying our best to keep up with, and we have to address it now or it's gonna cost us more money. That it will. Emergency repair, it costs more than planning it out. Even our engineers saying that, so like that, and things like that. So as the cost of things go up, as the cost of, can't buy eggs the same price, you can't buy asphalt the same price. As we did this, we really try to take in consideration that we don't wanna whack our residents with anything major, but we have to do something because unfortunately we don't have any businesses. And the only way to move forward and to stay the safe community that we are is to actually have to put the investment in time and money into it. So as you see in front of you, the two difference in the 1.5 and the no tax. And then conversely, the sewage fund has been underfunded for a long time,
Way too long.
way too long. We've been in the hole for a long time. We've been literally in the sewer pipe for a very long time. And we have to do something with that because it's just gonna get worse. And as we know with infrastructure that you can't keep underfunding something that crucial. So there are the options here as well. If there's questions on it, please let us know. Michelle, Ashley can go through it. I pretty much have nightmares of this thing every night. So I can tell you whatever line it is, but it's my recommendation that we go to the 1.5 increase.
That's the committee's.
That's the committee's, that's yes. And for the sewage, I mean, at this point, we have to do something, so we have to at least go up. I mean, I think what Michelle, option 2 is probably the only way, and we're still underfunded 7.3%.
Because right now we're,
Minus 16.8.
Yeah.
Which is not a good number.
No.
no,
I can't sleep well with that number.
so. With the current rate is 8.5 per gallon is the current rate.
Yes,
And at the current rate, we're in the negative 16.8%.
correct.
And even moving that up from 8.5 to
Oh,
11.50,
we're
we're
still,
still negative 7.3.
jeez. Yeah, and we also understand that, you're getting, we don't want to hit everybody at once with everything, so trying to do it in stages, but that we have to get out of the negative 16.8. That's not sustainable.
So just wanted to add a quick comment. I do serve on the finance committee.
Thank you,
It
Brooke,
is
you did a great
not-
job.
Thank you. I am not recommending a 1.5 mil increase. That is something that is being brought to the table kind of new right now. So it's not the committee's
It's
stand.
my personal, yes.
Yes, okay. Just wanted to make sure that that's clarified.
I do, can I have a comment?
Yeah, please.
I do want to note too that, we need to have a beginning, that like the ending balance has to be substantial enough to start the new year as well.
That's the problem.
To take note that if we're only starting with, 500,000 or less, we will not be able to pay some of our essential bills, we won't be able to pay our. Would be a bit of a tough situation if we do have less than the certain amount.
Right, because
Fund.
I never trust.
Fund balance policy.
Fund
Yeah.
balance policy, thank you, it's not coming out,
18%.
which is 18%, which passed, I think, a couple years ago, we passed that to ensure. That we are able to pay for this essential thing.
100%, because we don't get our taxes on January 1st, so that's our revenue. And so we have to like keep the lights on and.
Yeah.
Do the essential things, exactly.
Any other questions, comments? I know we've talked about this at market.
Mhm.
I know there's been some, I
I
don't know.
wanted to provide an additional comment. I don't know if anyone wants to talk about the open house and
Yeah.
when
Yep.
that's going to be.
Yep, that's what I was just gonna say.
That was, I was looking for that. Yep, that is next. It is November.
Michelle and I were talking about that earlier today,
Is it
or
November?
the possible date.
November?
Because I have to advertise this open house because we might have a quorum with council.
Mhm.
And so I'm asking council to allow me to advertise the 2025 budget open house for November 13th here in the Borough Building from 6 to 7:30.
Yep. I'm good with that. Can do that day. Brooke, are you okay that date?
Yes, we already discussed that.
Yep.
Yes.
So we're still good. Okay, I just want to make sure, because I know things change. I get it,
Thank you for checking in.
What's in my phone? It's there. If it's not.
Back up, I just wanted to, in talking with the chair as well, budget and finance, putting on there possibly requiring a bond or loan to cover some of our additional expenses. A lot of the conversation that we've had in budget and finance has come from Huntington. From what I am gathering, if we're acquiring a bond, we have to have it's typically above $1 million for a bond.
Yeah.
And if you are getting a loan, it's less than $1 million. So, just putting it on the table to see if there is some interest in acquiring a bond to come up with some of the additional fee or expenses we have. That we might not be able to address without that additional money.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I was thinking about was this year, the budget for the following year, the budget that we're only working on is $100,000 for paving.
Yes, it was originally presented as 200, but then the committee decided to cut it back to 100.
200.
Or the amount we received from liquid fuels.
Yeah.
Which is close to 100.
Okay.
It's like one.
My concern there is $100,000 for paving next year is not going to cover
Anything,
anything.
100%.
Right.
That's our problem, right?
That's the problem, and public safety and infrastructure is something that we pride ourselves in.
Yeah.
So I have some obvious concerns about that because we do have some deteriorating roads that need to be taken care of. Bond or loan or whatever, if that is an option or something that we can keep discussing, I think that some of the money can be used for that.
I agree. I think we'll sit down with Joe and go over both options with actual numbers, say, in like, this is let's pretend it's $1 million just for easy math, you know, the million, which way would you like to, what way would make most sense for the borough? Which is most financially responsible, because I agree with you, things keep coming up and we have to keep underneath good and the surface good. So, and that is a huge expense, you know?
I did provide Joe like a list
Project,
of,
Like a project list.
yeah, a project list. Now,
Thank
this
you.
is like the ideal project list.
Right, we can always
Not
cut and,
necessarily
yeah.
what council would want to take out, but there are an extensive amount of storm water projects that might need to, or should be completed in 2025. And if, I believe I shared this with Budget and Finance and the President as well, so roughly $8 million some dollars in projects.
Yep.
However, that's not necessarily what we have to take out, but there's over $8 million.
And we have to, again, we still have to keep addressing these things as we go, like, you know, and thank you, Denny, if you always give us a critical, what needs to be done, and because the last thing we want to do is, again, have emergency repairs or residents being unsafe because the road absolutely destroyed, or sinkhole, or
Right.
something like that, because that ends up costing the borough money. And I personally take pride in our roads, I personally take pride in our police, I personally take pride of living here, and that is what our residents expect, and that's what they should expect. So we have to do something, you know.
And that's what Ralph brought up at our last infrastructure meeting. He said you skip paving for 1 year. He said it's 1 year, it sets you back 5.
Yep,
Right.
So-
So we have to do something.
Yeah.
Have to keep up with it.
Do it, right.
and $100,000 for next year is not gonna be enough for that.
That's this table. Like the length. I mean, that's
So
just-
the recommendation for the $100,000 for paving is that we went through the local government academy financial health workshop. And it was a recommendation, a very strong recommendation, that we have been aggressive for the past few years with our paving annually. And that, you know, given our budgetary constraints, given, you know, our revenue streams, it would be recommended that we do large paving projects every other year, that we alternate. In the year that we're not doing a large paving project, that we use the $100,000 budget to do something like seal coating. Something that would be a smaller project, but would also address the road infrastructure. So that is where that request is coming from. And then in entertaining possibly entering into a bond, the bond would then be used to outline more aggressively what paving projects we need to address and create a overall plan for getting all of those addressed in either a short time frame or at least a sequential time frame. So that is the idea of the $100,000 for this 2025 budget, and then revisiting that for the additional years to come.
I do believe that we were aggressive, not this year, but the year prior.
Correct.
We were not nearly as aggressive this year.
We
We
were
didn't
not.
do one paving project this year. We fixed that, but that was far from paving. That was just,
Right, so we're kind of going back to like you said, Brooke, the alternate. Like we're trying our best to, because I
Every
agree with
other
you.
year.
We can't do $400,000 every year.
right, yeah.
100% no. But we're, I don't want to get too behind on that alternate schedule, that, because we kind of did that. I think that, and that's a great recommendation, and I agree with you, because obviously a borough like us can't handle, everybody gets a new street tomorrow. But we can look, like you said, the bonds and loans, depending which one's better.
Yep.
Under Joe's recommendation,
There's other options that we can look out there, and
lemonade stands, you know.
cookie sales.
Bake sale.
Bake sales, but yeah, I think we're in a situation, fiscally, that we need some hard decisions are gonna have to be made.
Correct, and that's why, you know, we're asking for a little more time to come up with some additional solutions to supplement, you know, the gaps in our revenue. So that way we're not constantly overspending, but that we're able to get all the things that need to be addressed to ensure that we are maintaining a safe community for everyone, but doing it with a realistic approach.
Yeah, and I don't think we're overspending. I don't view it as that way at all. But I think if we're gonna be looking at a bond, I think that's separate from the milling. Right, there's some things that we need to ensure that are a healthy budget, and then, hey, there are these projects that need to happen, and I think those live separately. And I wanna ensure that that's clear for people,
That's,
that those are two separate things.
yeah, the mill increase is to keep the lights on,
Yes,
and the bond is to, let's get these projects let's start getting that $8 million of the projects
Right.
getting
Yeah.
down. So trust me, when we propose a mill increase, I pay the mill increase. We all
Yeah,
pay
we
the mill
all do.
increase. So I don't want to, because trust me, life's expensive, but but
but life is expensive.
life's expensive.
And we haven't increased in quite a while.
We have not.
We have not.
That kind of puts behind that.
Right, we have not increased in quite a while, but we did have increases back to back. And I do understand that there is a cost to doing business. Excuse me, I'm at a basketball practice, so if you hear some stuff in my background, I apologize.
All right.
Yes, understanding that there is a cost of doing business. However, as I mentioned, almost in every meeting that we are in, we have to be cognizant of our community and what we're asking them to potentially take on. And so if there's an alternative way for us to reach our goal, we need to be aggressive at doing that. Even with making the transition to Huntington Bank, that was something that was suggested because we, looking at the budget, realized that we were not earning any interest on our money. And so it was able to bring that resource to the table for the borough to be able to utilize a different institution and earn additional revenue several times more than what we were earning previously.
We do it,
So I'm asking for all members of council to, look at the budget and be creative in how we approach getting some of these requirements or requests completed beyond just going back to the pockets of our residents.
Absolutely.
All right, what's that?
So, we are required by, borough code, I believe, to advertise the availability of our budget. So I'm just requesting the council to allow me to do that. Also to,
Do you have the motion and vote on that or no?
I'll have it on the
Or-
regular.
or-
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Also to discuss possible ordinance or resolution for the 2025 real estate tax. That has to, if there's a increase, I believe it has to be done via ordinance. If there's not, then we have to do a resolution. And that goes the same for sanitary sewer.
Okay.
And that would both be, all those items will be on the regular.
You get the open house, that was H.
And I just want to make note in the minutes reflect that Councilmember Shirley Blair Fuller is online.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can set the real estate tax rate ordinance, actually both ordinances, but not set the actual rate. So, we could sort of fill in the rate at the December.
December meeting, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We do have to advertise them in advance, so we'll say not, I think it's, as long as we can say not to exceed 1.5 mils, then we can actually.
That's what we did last year or the year before,
That's
something along those lines. Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Great, public safety.
That's not there, I mean, I can start.
Yeah, you can start, yeah.
We had 3 short-term rental conditional use applications come in. They have paid all of the appropriate conditional use fees, and we have acquired a stenographer. And these individuals, the 3 properties will be going in front of the planning commission this Wednesday. And then, based on, decision they make, council will have a conditional use hearing on, 14th? I'm forgetting the December, December 2nd. It's right there.
So we'll need to advertise, run 2 legal ads for that, Michelle, for that conditional use hearing on the second. With the second ad at least 7 days before the second. So,
Okay. Yeah, I have a motion on here, if council could approve me to advertise it now. Does that work?
yeah, that would be fine. Yeah. Is that on there today?
Motion to defer
Yep,
manager to
yep,
advertise.
Right there.
And-
7B.
Oh, got it. Hang on. Thank you, make that motion.
Madam President, motion to direct the borough manager to advertise a short-term rental conditional use hearing for Monday, December 2nd, 2024, beginning at 6 P.M.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have a discussion? Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I have a discussion on the advertising. Where are we advertising to? And I did read the entire piece on the notifying residents, their notification. I have a question, perhaps Gavin can answer, anyone else can answer. The residents that are immediately impacted with the 3 that we do have, they will have voice as well at the hearing. Are we notifying them directly, or we're just hoping that they receive whatever they receive via paper and all of our other media outreach?
So the state law provides the notification requirements, and that is the 2 legal notices and also the posting of the property at least 1 week in advance of the hearing. So that's what will be done for these 3 properties.
So it will be posted on the property as well?
That's correct.
Thank you. That's what I needed to know, Gavin. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
So I did do a legal memo to both the planning commission and council. Not sure if it was in your packets or not. I know it was in the planning commission packet. But
It wasn't in the packet, but I sent it via email.
okay, all right, so it was sent separately. So that kind of outlines what your role is as council members at these conditional use hearings. And so give that a read. If anyone has questions, reach out to me. But it is going to be 3 separate hearings. And we won't necessarily be required to make decisions that night, but they'll be set up for decisions on the agenda to be made at the regular meeting that follows 6 o'clock hearings.
Thank you.
Gavin, quick question. Do we have to make, not do we have to, but I guess is council required to make a recommendation, or can we make a recommendation on whether or not we're in support or against?
I mean, that will come after you listen to the evidence at the hearing.
Sure.
And then there'll be a vote, either to approve or deny. And I will say that we can have an executive session after the hearings to go over the testimony and evidence. And that way, you'll know, you'll have an idea going into the regular meeting where everyone stands on things.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I have one more follow-up question regarding the 3 applicants. Was this something that they initiated on their own? Was it in response to, someone investigating that there were short-term rentals being operated in the community? How did they come forth?
We had the property safety specialists send letters to all of the short-term rentals that were listed in Churchill Borough. I believe he utilized Airbnb website.
Okay. All right.
Madam President, there was no official motion made for allowing me to advertise the open house.
All right, let me finish this motion, because we haven't voted yet, and then we'll go back to that one. That's okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries, and then we'll go back to,
H.
H.
Madam President, motion to direct the borough manager to advertise a 2025 budget open house for borough residents on November 13th, 2024, from 6 P.M. to 7:30 P.M.
Second.
Any discussion?
Please come out so that you can learn more about what we've been working on. Hope to see you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Where will it take place?
Here.
Here, right here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Alright. And we'll move on to our infrastructure committee.
We were recently notified that the borough was awarded the 2023 LSA grant.
Yay.
Collaboration with the borough and school district and a lot of the from Councilmember Brooke Williams. There will be school radar signs going up on Greensburg Pike. We were given an amount of 124,000 and some odd amount after. And then the school district will be giving an additional 20,000 to that project. It's come to realization that this won't happen overnight. There's a lot of studies that still have to be done and permits obtained. So the goal of this is to be finalized and up and running by the end of 2025.
Any comments?
Just,
Congratulations. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I have a question here. Just to back up what Michelle said, we will be putting infrastructure committee, we'll be putting together a timeline as to the process for the grant received, as to the next steps, where we will be going each step of the way down to the finalization. We know that it takes time and people want to know when are the lights going to go up. So that we don't have to do that. We will be doing a timeline for everyone to look at, down to where the paperwork gets signed, to what happens next, what happens next. Because some people like to have a visual of what's going on, as well as for each council member, so that when people come to us for what's going on with the project, that because we only meet once a month, we can have a handout to give them to where we are on that approved timeline.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great. All right, moving on to communication committee.
I think the only thing right now is, our articles are due for the next newsletter at the end of the month, I believe. Right, I mean, I think it says December 1st, but that's a Sunday, so let's say November 29th. So if anybody has any interesting articles they would like to write, our council, anyone, feel free. That's
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Climate action.
Climate action, we're waiting to get the final after the draft.
Yeah.
Final. And then, we will make that public, so that
Great.
should be happening soon. Great, so, okay. That's all I have right now.
Education and school district work.
first, I just want to thank Michelle for acknowledging the work that I did with the school zone flashers. I'm very excited about the grant that we received. Thank you, Michelle, for, withstanding all of my requests on the updates on the grant and not getting frustrated with me. So thank you so much for that. Regarding the school district, there was a special meeting held on October 29th where one of the board members was censured. Darnika Reed there was some conflict that was going on with her and some of the other council members. The special meeting I was not able to attend, and that has not been posted to their district website. So I will be reaching out to council members to get some more clarification on exactly what happened during that meeting, why the meeting was held, and what the issues were. Also, it's been reported that Dr. Castagna will be leaving the Woodland Hills School District at the end of this year and going to Chartiers Valley. So, we are going to be in a transition phase as the school district is looking for a new superintendent to fill the vacancy. As I get more information, I will be bringing that information to this body to keep our residents informed. Regarding the Schaefer demolition, there is a postcard that was finalized that should be going out to residents that will be impacted by the demolition. I will also have some additional information regarding timeline for when that will be going out as well. So those are the only updates that I have thus far.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke.
Absolutely.
In regards to the Schaefer demo, there was also a letter that the school district provided us that we could utilize as well. So that was sent to all the surrounding houses that are touching the Schaefer property. And they should have already gotten those
Yes.
already.
We can go,
Nothing for play space. Mayor, before I jump to you, Chief, did you have anything?
Just kind of on the coattails of the finance and when we're talking about infrastructure and some of the roadway, paving projects. I've spoken to some of the council people already, but just something to keep in mind. One of my, CIP requests for next year was for, the weight scales for vehicle enforcement. And, I don't have a number yet from Wilkins Township because they've been doing that type of enforcement the last couple of years, but I can tell you that that type of enforcement generates consistently a significant amount of call it revenue, but fine monies that can be utilized for projects such as, you know, roadway and infrastructure repair, because that's these big trucks are doing a lot of damage. So it's worth its weight in gold, and I know that dollar figure for the scales is significant, but it's less than half for brand new products, and I can assure you that it's money well invested.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. I heard, can you talk a little bit about the most recent fine that was given and how much that was for?
And it was one of the smaller fines, but we had a truck that Officer Lewandowski stopped on Beulah Road. And it was over by about 20,000 pounds. So that fine, when it was all said and done, the fine was a little over 6,000.
Wow.
Most of these fines range anywhere from 12 to 15,000 for some of the heavier trucks. So we get half of that fine money. And of course, sometimes there's some plea deals that work out that chip away at that, but all in all, it can become a significant means of trying to repair some of these roadways that, these trucks are the damage they're doing. So,
Like, and at the end of the day, it is a fine because they shouldn't be overweight and they're overweight, which causes damage for a road.
Right.
So that, like you said, that is that money that we have to put towards.
The roads are
Fixing that,
fixing,
so-
yeah.
right, so it only makes sense.
So it only makes sense.
Right, and Beulah Road is the only one that's currently posted legally after a roadway study that was done
Yeah.
several years ago. We have some work to put in. I'm working with Wilkins right now because
Great.
they're the infancy stages of having some roadway studies
Great.
done. But when you get to the end of that, once they post, you know, Churchill Road, some of the other thoroughfares, we can do some enforcement there as
Absolutely.
well. But it is well worth the money you invest.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
I agree with you. Thank you for sharing that.
Show council about how many tickets that Lewandowski would have to be required to write.
Well, he has to do, as part of his mix-up certification, he has to do a minimum of 37 safety inspections. So there are safety inspections and weights and measures. So when he stops a truck, he can do a safety inspection on all the braking, the safety equipment, lighting. In addition to that, he can also weigh the vehicle. So, but yeah, it's a minimum of 37 a year. So.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I
Sure.
appreciate that. Truly.
I would assume, chief, if there's like a violation of brakes or lights, can the fine be associated with that too?
So there's fines for the safety, and a lot of those range well over $1,000. Sometimes it puts the truck out of service where it has to be towed, but where we see the more significant fine monies is in the weight violations. So
Well, this is a busy corridor, right?
yeah, it is, and we have a lot of drivers who there's resources at their disposal that they can use to avoid being overweight. A lot of trucks use the 376 corridor exit here to access Keystone Commons and 130. They do it knowingly and willingly, just as a shortcut to save time. And even if it's by accident, it's posted.
Yeah.
So, but we do have, if you were to sit out there any given day, you'll see a good number of trucks up and down there that all could be enforcement could be done. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, the only thing I want to mention, Ralph put that traveling speed sign up on Thornbury, and I'll be keeping an eye on it.
Mhm.
And when I see cars flying up there, when that thing flashes, they slow down.
Right.
So I was talking to Chief the other day about it, talking to Michelle about it. It would be nice to have more of them. Michelle looked it up, they're like 18,000. So maybe possibly some of that money could come from the fines we get from the drug. You know, I'm not saying we have to load the whole borough up with them, but
Right.
in some of the hot
That's
spots,
help.
and if we keep moving them around to
Mhm.
remind our residents of the speed limits that are there.
Yeah, the sign we have now, we have the two permanent signs that we invested in. the mobile sign that we moved to a couple, streets in the borough. It's not solar powered, so you have to recharge the battery, and the colder it is inside, the shorter it lasts.
Or-
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of maintenance and upkeep to keep it functional. So we were thinking about a small unsophisticated sign, basically like that, that might be solar powered, and I haven't really looked since we talked in any pricing. But
Yeah, there's some that, if you're going on the speed limit, give you a smiley face. If you're going too fast.
Right.
fires a missile on. Take your tire out.
Well,
Yeah. right.
Paintball.
Yeah. Right.
That nail thing goes out.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, spike.
council staff, any other comments? Great. Let's adjourn.
Thank you so
all.
much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.